Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Hopefully this is going to be a short but to the point video. Alright, let's get our bougie candle going. It's my favorite part of the video creation, by the way. No, I'm not a fire starter. Yes, I am. It's sticking. Alright. Oh, I gotta get some freaking winter sage. I was just at the store, too. It's this stuff. Okay, so we're going to talk about a concept about... got a little ash on me. It's kind of burny. Kind of like sharks are kind of bitey. Anyways, alright. So I learned something really powerful about a week ago. It put all the pieces together. I mean, it was like, oh, when I saw it this time, it was different than any time before. So I don't know if I'm going to put, well, yeah, I might as well put it in this video. What the hell? Alright, so this might be a little longer than I originally thought. Alright, so here's one thing. This is the first one that narcissists do. Okay. They are projection masters, and they take no responsibility at all for the way they view the world. They think that you're wrong, you're bad, and they just point, and they can't realize it's a reflection of who they are, and that's something that they will not allow. They just won't. So let me get, okay, so when I'm specific, okay, there's two things. Hold on, let me put two notes down so I don't forget. All right, so what happened was, let me try to think the best way to say this is, all right, so you guys have heard how, I don't know if I want to say it this way though. It's like they will do something to you, and if you do it back to them even a little bit, they'll lose their shit. That is a very narcissistic thing, right? So, okay, I got it. Here it is. Okay, I got it. So this person would go through the world. You know, actually, I can think of a lot of different ones. Okay, and they would constantly argue and disagree with every single person they come in contact with. So here's the thing. I have, and it's because of narcissists, I have a rule. There's no arguing with me. I don't argue. If that is your form of communication, walk out the door. Find people that like to argue. I like to listen to understand. I want to understand you. And if you ask me a question, I expect you to listen to understand. Not to interrupt, not to change what I said. And I'm going to make another video more specifically about this. But here's the thing I'm trying to say. I finally said, now it wasn't just this person. I've had a couple aha moments in the last 10 days. And number one, I needed the break from my YouTube videos. Number two, I kind of had to, I don't know how to explain it because it was really clear when I saw them, but it's almost like I had to take a step back and be like, no shit. I had said to this person, you are the only person that I talk to that argues with me. And it had been over almost 2 years. What? What are you talking about? I'm like, I don't like talking to you. I can't stand the way we communicate. It sucks. I don't like it. And they were just like, well, what do you mean? Because, okay, here's why. In their world, since they were a little child, all they did was disagree with anything and everything that was ever said to them. That's all they know. So watch this. You gotta, okay. So when I had said, you're the only person in my life that I argue with, they were just like, huh? Like their whole face was like, what are you talking about? Because in their world, everybody they talk to, they argue with. Everybody. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, work, clients, you name it, they're going to argue. When I said that, they were stunned and shocked and like, how is that even possible? Because in their world, that is communication. How can you talk to someone without arguing? Constantly, every verb, every adjective, adverb, every noun, every sentence, every partial sentence, every phrase. How can you not argue constantly, right? And I know you guys have dealt with narcissists, and I know you know what I'm talking about. In their world, since they were a little child, any person that came into their space, they argued with. and then the next person, and then the next person. Everybody, because what they're doing is they're sucking people into arguments simply by just disagreeing with anything and everything they say. So they believe, and they truly do, well, everyone argues. No, only about, I would say 10% of society, maybe a little bit more, truly is like that. It's not everybody, and it's definitely not all the time. I tend to be on the other end of the scale where I just tend to get along with people. I just tend to listen and understand. I'm okay with people having different values. I'm okay with people thinking different things, having different beliefs. That's fine. Now, I draw the line when you try to attack me or hurt me or do, stuff like that. That's when I'm like, well, stop the bullet train. This ain't going to work. All right. So other than that, I just want to understand where people are coming from. I want to see things from their perspective. That's my whole, oh God, that's another one. Hold on. That's not going to be on this video. I want to see things from other people's perspective because then I can understand them. If I'm only seeing it from my perspective, I can't understand anyone else. So my experience with people is communication with flow, with understanding, with clarity. That is a very typical experience with me. Then I'll run into someone who's either an argumentative person or a narcissist, and all we do is argue. And I'm just like, oh, dude, I can't do this. I cannot fucking do this. And this is not going to happen, dude. So one of the things in my life is I cut those people off really fast, okay? So what I'm trying to get you to understand is from their worldview, they honestly, sincerely, and genuinely believe, but this is what everyone does, Michael. No matter what you say to a narcissist, they cannot even consider the possibility that you can actually communicate just to listen, just to understand, not argue, not disagree. And that is a concept that they just think is not real. And so no matter how much you talk to them until you get blue in the face, they're never, ever going to understand that, okay? So you know what? I think I'm going to leave this at that. No, I'm going to throw this one on. Okay, so there was another person. This was years ago. This was, 7-8 years ago. And they would just, I'm going to use the F word, I'm sorry. They would just fuck with people. And I'm going to tell the story again. This is just one of a lot of different examples. They worked in a small business with it was a big guy with two other ladies. And he invites me over. We're going to go out to lunch. And so he goes, meet me in my office. I was like, okay. So I went over there, and he goes, hey, sit in my seat. And I sat in his chair. So he had this big desk, this big chair. And over there, like, there's a wide open door frame, like big wide door frame. So there was no doors, actually, but a big, like as wide as the living room almost. Well, it was a business, actually. It's a bank now. But so I could clearly see the front desk, and there was a tiny petite lady there. She was about, I'm going to guess 5'1", 5'2", and she was slender. She was a small lady. About 45, I'm going to guess, something like that. And this guy was a big dude, about 6 foot, a little over 6 foot, not quite 6'1", big shoulders, big dude, big barrel belly. I'd say he was about 240. And he goes, watch this. And I'm like, and I had a bad feeling, like, what do you mean? Like, what do we, like, this was a professional business setting where he worked. And he went up to them. And he just, rah, and he leans over the table, and it's like in this little, and she's like, ah, and I'm like, holy shit, and he's like, where's my money? Ah. And so I literally got up, ran around the table, and I had to grab his shoulder and pull him off. I'm like, I'm so sorry, to the lady, because I didn't know what the hell was going on. And we walk out the door, and when the door shut, we walked to his car, because I was stunned. I was like, what the hell just happened? And he goes, wasn't that funny? I was like, was it what funny? He goes, I just scared the crap out of her. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why would you do that? She goes, it was funny, right? I'm like, no, dude, that was not fucking funny. And he was like, oh. He got this lost, confused look on his face, and he got went real silent. He wasn't like, oh, Mike's mad at me, or I did something wrong. He was legitimately looking at him like, what? Like, why doesn't Mike see this as funny? You gotta understand, this dude scared the crap out of that lady, and I mean terrorized her. And so we end up going to P.F. Chang's, and we're sitting down, and I'm still stunned, and I'm just thinking, like, what do I do? Like, do I get up and leave? Like, what? And so he brought it up again and started giggling, like, it wasn't that funny. I was like, dude, why would you think that was funny? It wasn't like he went, boo. like a little, or some weird bark noise. No, he's scared, like, and he was like, Rah! Yelling at her for about probably 15 seconds, 20 seconds until I got over to him. I mean, she was terrified. And I was like, why would you do something like that? Well, he didn't exactly answer at that time. In fact, that's what it was. I made a decision never to see that person again. He contacted me, I think it was like 6 months later, and he begged me to give him a second chance to explain himself, so to speak. I'm like, you don't need to explain yourself to me. You got to explain yourself to them. And so he had said, and this is where he gave himself away. He had said, he goes, but Mike, everybody does that. I'm like, no, everybody doesn't do that. And so his belief was that everybody is constantly effing with everybody else and screwing each other over. This is a very, very narcissistic belief. This is one of their core beliefs, is that you're trying to fuck me over. I'm sorry for cussing, but I can't explain it any better. And I'm going to F you over, and that's just life. And so I go, where do you get this from? So I'm a hypnotherapist, and I do something called timeline therapy. So I had actually walked him back into his past. We were actually having pizza at this restaurant. Luckily, it was slow that night. And he went back to his childhood. He's like, well, me and my brother would just terrorize each other. I'm like, oh, okay. And he goes, my brother, he gave me story after story about how his brother would completely screw him over financially, would screw him over in this way. And he did this real long example of when his mother had died and the will had left him all certain amount of money or property or whatever. And this is how bad this sibling rivalry was between him and his brother. Was he explained, my brother thought he was getting ripped off, so he hired a lawyer with the money that he got and took me and my dad to court. And so what we ended up having to do was sell the house, because we had to go to a judge, and we went through this whole court thing, and it took a long time, cost a lot of money, all the money that we ended up getting from my mother for however they got the money, and we had to pay it on lawyers and all that stuff. And what happened was, at the very end of everything, it turns out we all actually got equal amounts in the actual dollar amount. And his brother was like, oh, okay, like it was no big deal. So he literally had this core belief that everybody is doing everything in their power to hurt everyone and destroy everyone's life. This is how a narcissist operates. You have to understand that. Trying to fix them, trying to deal with them, trying to help them, trying to be in a relationship with them, and they're going to change. Oh, no, they're not going to change. You're going to change and become like them. You ever heard the phrase, you don't change the devil changes you? And that, my friends, is what a narcissist is. And that is why that phrase was created. It was created for people who have dealt with narcissists in their lives. You're never going to change them. I am telling you. But they can change you, and that's what they will do. They will bring you down. I know you've been trying to bring them up because you're an empath, or you're a light worker, or you're a positive person, personal development, life coaching. They don't change. The minute I get a client and I realize that they're a narcissist, I say, yeah, this isn't going to work for you. I tell them right off the bat, my course will not work for them, because narcissists are very locked in their left brain. My course is a very right brain course. They don't want to go there. They don't want to open up. So it won't and never works for them. So there's some things that I walk them through to find out if they're a narcissist, or if they're just, for some reason, won't open up. And I'll just say, hey, no reason to waste our time. You got to go your way. I'm going my way. This course will not work for you. It could work if they're willing to open up to the right brain. So I just wanted to give you these tips, and I've got a couple. I'm going to give you in the next video or two I'm going to give in the next video. Screw it. Yeah, I'm going to do it in the next video. What it is that I finally realized that it like opened the door to. It's like I had like 95% of the pieces, right, of narcissist abuse and understanding what happened to me. I'm like, oh, okay. A lot of aha moments about my past life, my childhood, etc., in adult life. But this piece is something people have been trying to say to me that they didn't say it in the right way, and I didn't get it. And I have a feeling a lot of you didn't get it. I'll see you in the next video, okay? And I'll explain that. So this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Thank you very much. Bye.